Good morning. Welcome to Gimpy's History Corner. I'm called Gimpy by my two grandsons, Archie and Ellis, and their dog Franny. I've always liked this picture. I was over watching them for the day. They had a day off from school, and both their parents were working, so I had them all day. So they got up in their pajamas, and the dog always has to be part of everything. And here they're watching something on a little computer thing. We had a good day. Always do. Okay, this is video number 152 on presidential pardons. Comes from Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution. He, being the president, shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. You can't apparently pardon yourself if you're impeached as a president. The president has the power to pardon individuals for federal crimes only. State crimes fall under the authority of governors. Forms of clemency, that's another name for forgiveness, I guess. Pardon, a pardon is full forgiveness. Commutations reduces your sentence. So if you're in prison and you've served 3 years of a 5-year, you commute the sentence. In other words, you just get out right away. Remissions, cancel fines or penalties. Reprieves, delaying punishment. In the old movies, you used to see a person sitting on death row, and it's almost time for his execution. He's waiting on a reprieve from the governor, a phone call. Unfortunately, it hardly ever came in those old movies. Amnesty, broad forgiveness of a group like draft evaders. Pardons do not erase the historical fact of a conviction, but removes legal consequences. So I'm not sure how that's important. I guess your name is still in the history books as being convicted of something, but you don't serve any prison time. Courts have consistently upheld this as a broad, nearly unchecked power. Our Constitution is full of checks and balances. This is a check, a presidential check on judicial power. It's inspired by the monarch's prerogative of mercy. In England, it was called a prerogative of mercy instead of a pardon. So I was curious about how many pardons each president has granted since World War II. So that starts with Harry Truman, 1,913. Most were draft related. Draft and war related, I should say. Eisenhower had 1,157. Again, most of those were military offenses in the draft. Kennedy had a short term. He only had 472. Johnson had a term and a half, I'd say. He had 960. Most were draft evaders. Back during the Vietnam War, the draft was very unpopular, and people would say, I'm not going to fight in Southeast Asia. They did nothing to me. They're not threatening our country. I'm going to Canada, or I'm hiding somewhere. Those were called draft dodgers or draft evaders. And Johnson pardoned 960. Nixon pardoned 863 and later sort of pardoned himself when he chose Gerald Ford to be his new vice president under the condition that he would pardon Nixon. Ford pardoned 382, and the most famous, of course, was he pardoned his predecessor, President Nixon, for his Watergate crimes. And I'd say that probably cost Ford getting reelected. People didn't think he should have done that. Nixon was really low popularity at that point, and he had obviously committed some bad things. But he resigned and had Ford come in under the agreement that he would pardon him, which he did. So Ford did not get reelected. Jimmy Carter came in, 563, and he did a blanket amnesty of all draft evaders. This was still the Vietnam War. Reagan pardoned 406. That's the lowest number so far. And that's followed by the even lower number. George H.W. Bush only pardoned 77. What was he doing? Clinton got the controversy going again. He pardoned 457, and most of those were on the last day of his presidency, and there was a famous one, a criminal named Mark Rich. Another Bush, George W. Bush, H.W.'s son, only pardoned 200. He got the lowest of all. Barack Obama got it going again with 1,917, and his big thing was commuting drug offenders. Commuting, remember, is when you say, okay, you already served 10 years of a 20-year sentence, that's enough, you come on out. I commute the rest of your sentence. Trump is the king of presidential pardons. In the first term, he commuted 1,800, and mostly they were political allies of his who had committed crimes, and he liked them, so he pardoned them. He didn't have any. What would you say is a good reason that had to do with bad judicial practice. He just thought his allies deserved to be pardoned. Trump always thinks that if somebody he likes gets in trouble, it's not their fault, it's the judicial system's fault. That's one of the things pardons do, is try to check the judicial system. Trump doesn't think he ever does anything wrong either, so he has a bunch of lawyers that gets him out of things, or he gets found guilty but doesn't serve any penalty. It's amazing. The Supreme Court has given him blanket immunity. He can do anything he wants because the Supreme Court says the president can't be prosecuted. Okay, Biden might be the champion of pardons. He has 4,245. And again, like Obama, he pardoned the nonviolent drug offenses. So Democrats, Obama and Biden, concentrated on nonviolent drug offenders because they thought the drug laws were wrong and too harsh for Democrats. Trump thought the courts were too hard on his buddies, his allies. So he pardoned all his criminal bad guys who gave him money or helped him in some way. And of course, in his second term, his most famous pardons were the January 6th criminals who vandalized and broke into the Capitol Hill. Many were, obviously, a lot of 1,500 were put in prison, which they should have. They committed a crime, but first thing he did when he walked in is pardoned them. And you knew he was going to do that. The crime our country, I think, has is when they reelected him after he committed that crime. You knew he put them up to that. He instigated the insurrection, January 6th. And we reelected him anyway. What are we thinking? Unbelievable. We committed the biggest crime by re-electing him. Now look what he's doing. 1,500 of the January 6th pardons and 142 individual pardons since then. Most of those are political buddies of his or wealthy buddies who come out and end up giving him lots of campaign money or crypto money that he likes so much. Okay, so all of our presidents in World War II have been big with the pardons. The smallest was George W. Bush with only two. No, I'm sorry, the smallest was his father, H.W. Bush, with only 77. The next smallest was George W. Bush with 200. The biggest partner is the Trump, 2 terms of Trump, 1,800 in his first term, and 1,600 now, and actually even higher than the 2 Trump terms was 1 Biden term, 4,245. So I don't know what that says about our judicial system when these presidents come in and pardon so many people. I don't know. Is our judicial system so corrupt that we wrongly convict that many people? Or are our presidents so corrupt that they let criminals out of prison? It's probably a little bit of both, I'd say. Okay, presidential pardons, not a good thing, in my opinion. Our judicial system seems to work for the most part. Let it go. I don't know. Maybe our laws are not good regarding drugs. Maybe that's changing with the marijuana changes. It's crazy. Democrats and Republicans have used the pardon way too much, in my opinion. Either that or our court system is corrupt, one of the two. Maybe both. Maybe we just live in a corrupt country. There you go. That's probably it. We are a corrupt people. We elect corrupt people. Okay, time to go shovel snow. Have a great day. Don't be corrupt.